Now, over the last 2 years, we've looked at the nation's activity levels on this programme. ukactive, which is a not-for-profit body comprised of members and partners from across the lifestyle sector, both public and private, is concerned about the finance of that sector, particularly with increasing energy costs after 2 years of COVID issues. I've been speaking to the CEO of ukactive, Huw Edwards, about the current challenges.
Well, the sector has shown huge resilience in the past 2 years, Kathy, and overall has weathered the storm in the most challenging of circumstances. So just over a year since reopening in April 2021, and this period has been generally positive, and you've seen huge demand from people of all ages and backgrounds to come back to their gym, pool and leisure centre. But the recovery hasn't been consistent across the sector. So you've seen very strong evidence of large parts of the private sector getting back to pre-COVID levels, but the public sector leisure is averaging at around 70% pre-COVID levels. So that means there are concerns there, and as a result, a rationalisation of services. The energy crisis is the new storm, with facilities facing up to 150% increase in energy costs since 2019. And so the real pressure now is maintaining community services. We're aware of a number of closures or imminent closures of swimming pools across the country, and we can't afford that number to become a flood.
It's that particular area of services, community services, that often are the ones that are so much in need. What are the nation's physical activity levels like after 2 years of COVID?
Well, they remain challenging and below where they should be. The latest Active Live survey from Sporting covered a period between November 2020 and November 2021. So that included a month of closure and restrictions for the whole sector. So the data shows that there was 1.3 million more inactive adults in that period. But some of the real areas of concern will be around the fact it was 4 times greater in more deprived areas, and you're less likely to be active if you're a woman, if you're from an ethnically diverse community, and if you're someone who's suffering from long-term health conditions. So those are real areas of concern going forward.
And all of that is a bit of an issue when you're looking at, we're 10 years on from the 2012 Olympics. It doesn't say much for the legacy of the London Games, particularly with the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham in a few months' time. What are the main factors that might change those activity levels? We've looked at this over so many years, haven't we?
Absolutely. I mean, there is obviously a physical legacy of regeneration in East London, which we should be proud of. But you're right, in terms of a decade on from 2012, our national activity levels are way below where they should be. I think it's important to point out that the Sport England strategy, Uniting the Movement, is the right plan for developing necessary partnerships at a local level across the sector to improve activity levels. But the main factors that will create real change rest with government. So you need to see 3 things. Firstly, for the government to show real political will that it wants to turn around physical activity levels. And I think the jury is still out on that. Secondly, the government has to back the calls of industry leaders in the sector to create a new strategy for sport and physical activity that focuses on the levers of government. So reform to the tax and regulatory system, VAT, business rates, and also support the sector in accessing long-term investment streams to support renewal of facilities. And then thirdly, it's got to back the real drivers of physical activity in this country and empower them to do more. So that is walking, running, cycling, swimming and fitness, and prioritise these activities to help create a more active nation.
Looking for something transformative, really, aren't we? Huw Edwards, thank you.